Let's work. Please work. Let's work. Hey, it actually worked. Yeah, and it's getting sound. And I think YouTube just allowed me to go live completely smoothly. I think we're live and everyone can hear me. It's 3 p.m. Can people hear me? Put ones in if you can actually hear the words coming out of my face, because I think there's like a 10-second delay. Hey, hi, Daniel. Okay, so it sounds like, all right, yeah, you can hear me. Wonderful. Fantastic. YouTube emails me every time I go live. And it's like, hey, you're live, which I know, which I do appreciate that because, I don't want someone else to go live in my account and me not to be notified. So that's wonderful. Hello, you beautiful people. Can you tell that I was just doing a fantasy news? It was right there. So quick things that we're going to go over real quick. So I pretty much have decided that because we're past 100K, it doesn't make sense to do like 10K live streams continually. So what I'm going to do instead is just every other week, let's just do a fantasy chat. Let's have everyone come on board. We'll chat it up. We'll talk about what's going down in the fantasy genre, and we won't be dependent on hitting any milestones. I'll just come and check in, see how you're doing. Sorry, it's 9 p.m. in Europe. I really have to try to find a balance where it's like Europeans are still awake, Americans are somewhat getting off work, maybe on their lunch hour. It's a difficult balance. I'm trying to focus it. I'll probably vary up the times a little bit every time, just so we can kind of get in there. But I'm glad people are here. So already someone's coming in saying read Berserk. Man, that's just going to follow me until I die. One in Mexico. Hey, then that works for you. The only other thing I wanted to talk about here briefly was I do plan on reviewing season 2 and 3 of The Dragon Prince. I'm probably going to do them in one review, though, and just have like a full This is The Dragon Prince thoughts video and make it spoiler filled because it's been out long enough. I also want to update you guys who do take the time to come to these live streams on what I'm actually reading, because I don't like putting TBRs out. Hey, Ryan, how's it going? It's good to see you here. I haven't heard from you in a minute, man. It's good to see you're here. So I wanted to put something out where it's like, okay, if you make a live stream, you can be in the know. I just finished Dark Tower, which I tweeted about. I also am in the middle of Leviathan Wakes, which I am absolutely loving. And with the start of that, that for me is going to be like, all right, we might as well start reading what people are sending in. So I'm just going to kind of start that now. So that's definitely happening. $1.99 from Michael Vaughn. I didn't see what it said. It was deleted. Okay. I hope. I'm sorry. I hope that's was something I can read later. Hey, dude, awesome show. Thank you so much, 94 and Velion. See someone adding me. Have you read last Lucanus trilogy? Not yet. I have not. So I definitely need to get that to be something I get to. Read first Lost Standalones. That's definitely on the TBR as well. I actually just recorded a podcast with the Fantasy Inn, which that episode will be out down the road, where we talked about the fact that I need to get to those because that's something that's important for me to get to. So that I will get to those. They're actually really high on my TBR. Probably pick those up right after I finish Leviathan Wakes, to be honest, because Expanse is something people have been wanting me to get to, and I'm not regretting getting to it now because it is good. Oh man, it's good. Dale Green, on book 9 of the Wheel of Time. I didn't like the love. Okay, let's not get into spoilers. Does it get better? I think it gets much better. It's not handled the smoothest at the beginning. I think it gets much better as it goes on. Let's see. Just finished Memory of Light. Congratulations. You made it to the end. Let's see. What are people saying here? Oh, they're coming in fast. Daniel, what's your opinion on starting a booktube channel in a language of a small country, about 2 million people? Is it possible to gain a decent following? If you'll definitely explode faster in that circle than you would just starting another booktube channel, but I don't know about the limiting of growth. I don't know what percentage of that population you can hit. I think within circles, you'll grow fast. It's just a matter of how much can you maintain it. So for that, I'm not entirely sure, but we'll see. I don't think that would be too difficult or too bad. from Unraveling the Pattern. Thanks for reviewing my Wheel of Time deep dive video. Oh yeah, Daniel Green, I look forward to hearing your thoughts on the finished video. I saw your email. I just haven't been able to get to it yet, but I will for sure. This guy's working on a crazy awesome project that I'm excited to be out there. I don't know what I can say about it though, so I won't say anything yet. Nablus is here. Read Berserk or just read Wheel of Time over and over, bro. Hot take on titles dropped by Amazon and what it means for the show. Congrats on success, my friend. Oh, thank you, man. So we saw an episode titled Blood Calls Blood, and a lot of people are saying that is referring to something in The Great Hunt without getting into spoilers. I disagree. I think going off episode titles is dangerous business. I still think that with the episode count we're likely to get, we will have elements of Great Hunt in there, but I don't think we're going to have like super, super big. I don't think we're going to have a lot of Great Hunt in it. So I still think season 1. That's my hot take. Nablus, I love your face, and I hope I can see you in person because we live near each other soon. And then Rushaf Mohatni, from another long-time Wheel of Time fan, any thoughts on having a nerd battle or quiz show type format? Maybe a 5v5 between viewers. That's interesting. I've actually been working on something similar to that, and I hope to have something in that vein on my channel before too long. I've tried to launch fantasy debates, but unfortunately, it's not a smooth process, and getting other content creators in to like have the time is difficult. So I think it might be a good idea for me to actually incorporate viewers, like you're saying, maybe people in the Discord server who I like, know, and trust a little bit better because I can actually talk with them a bit more. I don't know. It's a good idea, and it's one I plan to develop eventually, but though I also do want to have other content creators involved when possible. From Martin Wold Savram, Season 1, Wheel of Time Season 1, Eye of the World only, plus Eye of the World, plus Great Hunt, or Cliffhanger? I think it'll be more like the Master and Commander. I've been saying this for a bit, where we're going to see a lot of elements from various books incorporated in the first season. If you haven't seen the Master and Commander movie, do yourself a favor and watch it. It's absolutely stellar. Can't recommend it enough. And if that whole series, they pull elements from book like 2, book 3, and they just kind of incorporate. I think we'll see elements from book 2, book 3, maybe even New Spring with a lot of the stuff we've seen recently, squished in to really build the world properly in season 1. Let's see. I got your notification right in the middle of reading about Kaladin kicking some ass in Oathbringer. Oh man, someone's in the middle of a great read right now. I'm jealous. Anytime I hear someone reading like a really awesome book, like you can reread now, I'm jealous because I want to go and have the experience of reading it for the first time. You know what I mean? But I can't have that anymore. Let's see. I had a super chat. Yo, Danny Green. What's the best fantasy movie show you've ever done? Ever seen? Oh man. I mean, the cop-out answer is Lord of the Rings, right? Like that's the one where it's just like, it's just so easy to just drop and say, oh, Lord of the Rings, duh. But I don't. Is it still the best? Is it still the best of all time? I'll say, if I can't pick Lord of the Rings, the best fantasy thing I've seen would be the first few seasons of Game of Thrones. But that's still also a pretty cop-out answer. Oh man, that's hard. You know what? I'm gonna go for a controversialer. Controversialer. That's why you guys subscribe here, right? The stellar grasp of the English vocabulary. Man. Okay, I'm going to change your question. The best adaptation of fantasy material ever is the creation of Dungeons and Dragons in response to the Lord of the Rings. Because in a very odd, real way, it is an adaptation. It's taking inspiration from Tolkien and making this game that was inspired by it. Obviously, due to like the lawsuits we saw where they started saying things like hobbits when they weren't allowed to say that, it's not exactly an adaptation that's legal or one that's supposed to be considered that, but I would say it is one, and it's my favorite. It's a cop-out answer, but it's an interesting new take on it. Lame answer, I know, but I'm a lame guy. I'm a lame person. Nameless again. Let's do a fantasy debate. Okay. Let's talk Wheel of Time and fight. Just text me, man. I'm down anytime. If we're talking boxing gloves, let's do it. I will put them on and we will spar. Yeah, I'll let you know whenever that starts developing more. I kind of have a lot on my plate right now, including like flights and stuff. I need to get someone to take care of Pips coming up here. Oh man, yeah. So I need to have a lot of stuff. So it probably won't be for like a month or two. But yeah, when that, trust me, your name is like top of the list whenever I get that stuff going. From Rupert's Potato Legacy, Daniel, what do you think the biggest challenges the Wadon Prime will face when it comes to production itself, but also towards the viewers, those who haven't read the books and those who haven't? That's funny. I have a video that's going to come out Saturday that's literally answering that question. So I'm not going to answer it because I want you guys to watch my video. But yes, I'm answering your question Saturday. About your Berserk review from 94 Magellan. I know you disliked it. It gets better after Volume 2. Plus, a lot of series have bad first impressions like Dresden Files or Star Trek The Next Generation. It becomes similar to Song of Ice and Fire. So don't get me wrong. I read a lot of the comments on that. And I'm willing to admit I probably made a mistake only reading the first volume. And that was my bad. So my impression was each volume in the series should be its own contained story. So I put it down and I was like, okay, I read the first volume. What was my takeaway? Not much. After seeing a lot of people respond, some really politely and some very angry, and that's fine. What I definitely should have done was finish the first arc, or at least started the first arc, which apparently is the first 3. So my Berserk review I already don't like. Honestly, when I even uploaded that review, I didn't like it to begin with because I didn't have so much to say. And that's because I didn't read a full story. And now that people have educated me a bit better, I feel bad that I didn't at least read a full story before giving it out. It's like I read the prologue to a fantasy book and tried to review a fantasy book based off that. So I'm gonna redo that, maybe get a couple more volumes before I put it away for good. That's at least my plan for now. Let's see here. From Tabe Dohu Do Now. Do you know if A Storm of Swords has more action and less politics in it than A Clash of Kings? Oh man, I don't remember well enough, unfortunately. The Song of Ice and Fire books blur together more than maybe any other series I can think of, right off the top of my head. That for some reasons just always been true for those books. It's also one of the reasons why I'm very much so the day I finish in a Song of Ice and Fire book, I need to record a review of it because it just starts blending and blurring with other books aggressively. I think it's just something about Martin's writing style. Every book feels very similar in my mind. From Nathaniel Stewart, I have exams tomorrow. Any way I could get some good lucks going in the chat. Love your work, by the way. Keep it up. Good luck, Nathaniel. What's your exam on? I'm always hoping people do well and that kind of stuff. Education is key, and you should be studying right now, young man. Watch Attack on Titan. That is also one of the shows I want to review on the channel here, so that is happening before too long here. Let's see. It reminds me of Drew Gooden. I don't know who Drew Gooden is, unfortunately. Let's see. Hey, Daniel, just want to say hello and thank you. I started reading Wheel of Time because of you back in October. Just started book 4 yesterday. Loving my journey so far. Awesome. Thank you so much. And I promise you the series it's better and better and better. There's the slog. It exists, but I still think there's amazing qualities in the slog itself. Let's see. $5 from Melanchi W with no question. Thank you. But I don't know what to say besides thank you so much. I appreciate the $5 coming my way. From Joe Polly. Did the ending of Dark Tower make you happy or angry? So I note this, and I already recorded my review for it. This going out Monday, and I noted this in the review. It's a series that I'm going to basically have to review twice. So I have my Dark Tower review because I'm still processing that ending without getting into spoilers, and I'm going to need to sit on it before I give my full series review. I will say the last book in Dark Tower is one of the best Dark Tower books. I get why the ending itself is so divisive. I'm not sure how I feel about it, but I know Stephen King did a damn good job because of how strong of a reaction he was able to pull out of me. That's without question true. Let's see here. From Nick Avalos. I know you get a lot of Rex, but I suggest the Dying Earth series by the overlooked author Jack Vance. I've heard Jack Vance's name. It inspired Gary Gygax to create D&D's magic system, and in my opinion, is a seminal, albeit old, dated work. I'm always open for older works to be reviewed and have a spotlight put on them here on the channel. So don't even sweat that. That's definitely something I'll take a look at. Anything that has influence on Gygax is worth checking out. No doubt, no doubt. I'm currently reading Leviathan Wake, Rachel Millis. I'm currently reading Leviathan Wakes. I did the cover. Which you can tell is a successful series because the author's name is bigger than the title. Because that apparently is an acceptable way to market your book. And I disagree. I don't like that, ever. I don't care who you are as an author, Stephen King. Your name should not be bigger than the title. Hey, Daniel, recently found your awesome content. Currently reading Wheel of Time. Which character do you relate to most? I probably relate to... I would say in terms of like the character I see myself in the most, it would probably be Perrin due to a lot of his anxiety and self-doubt. That one for me really resonates as like, I feel that all the time. So yeah, that for me is something I could probably relate to. I mean, that constant self-doubt and putting your foot in your mouth. I don't know where Pips is. I haven't seen him in a while. Usually he's all over me while I'm in here. Deborah, but I don't know where he's been right now. I think he's been a little like sleepy today. He was up sprinting at 4 a.m. and at 5, and I think at 3, a lot of sprinting and yowling. So he's tired. Pity on him for making all that noise. From Alex Rain, should I pick up Rage of Dragons or First Law next? Just read Kings of the Wild. Kings of the Wild is so good, and actually was what I talked about in that podcast I just recorded. Gosh, that's a really hard to pick between. First Law, Rage of Dragons. Are you more interested in culture, or are you more interested in like specific characters' work? Because First Law does not have the best plot when it first starts, but you're 100% hooked because of the characters. Whereas Rage of Dragons is about the culture and the plot. And the characters are still really good. It's just like Abercrombie character versus everybody else. If I had to flip a coin, I would say go with First Law right now because it's more of a series commitment and you can just decide yes or no, and then read for sure Rage of Dragons once you either decide this isn't for me or you get a couple books in and you're like, and I want to change it up, and then go Rage of Dragons. That would be my way too much thought put into it recommendation. Rupert's Protego Legacy with 200 knock. Toss a coin to your Witcher. Ovalio plenty. I love it. And in the fantasy news I just recorded, we're talking about the fact that the soundtrack's coming out tomorrow, I believe. Yeah, it's tomorrow. I think it's coming out. Let's see. Let's just go ahead and there we go. Do you have a recommendation for more magical realism similar to Sanderson? Magical realism similar to Sanderson. I think what you mean there is just magic with a lot of like hard rules and consequences, which I think is slightly different than magical realism. But no, I get what you're saying. If you haven't read Lightbringer, I think Lightbringer is very similar to him in that sense, where it has a very there are a cost to everything that's happening here. So that one is kind of a good way to go. I'm trying to think of something maybe a little more outside the box here. If you want a magic system that's that tied into the story, Lightbringer is probably the way to go. But if you want one that's incorporated into the action and has a lot of very similar, just in the page feeling, I actually find that Seven Blades of Black really has the magic forefront in what's happening in the story quite a bit. So that's actually another good recommendation there. Yeah, I think those would be the two that I would most lean you towards in terms of feeling like Sanderson to me. But that's a really subjective question in a lot of ways. Yeah, I don't know. There's a lot of different routes you could take to find more Sanderson. But honestly, unless you've read the entire Cosmere, you can just go get more Sanderson. Let's see, 94 Evangelion. Do you have any disliked cliches / tropes? Mine is the protagonist falling in love with the best friend, especially childhood best friend cliche. Yeah. I'm willing to say any trope handled well with a somewhat new take or spin on how it's executed, I can be okay with, but I'm really getting tired of MacGuffins. not necessarily really powerful objects in general, but really powerful objects that just solve a problem. That just are, and now everything's fine because this thing is destroyed or found by the hero and used on the big baddie. Because it's just, you always know it's gonna, how it's, as soon as something like that is introduced, where this is the thing to solve the problem, the rest of the story becomes extraordinarily predictable, unless it's in the hands of an author who's willing to take it in directions that you just don't see things go, like an Abercrombie, or a Lawrence. But that's hard to that one. And also the just conflict for the sake of conflict, because we need this initiating incident to happen where the two characters established would never have this conflict, but they just do because the plot demands it. That one happens, oh my God, so much. And it takes me out of the story because it just doesn't feel like the story. It feels like the author needed this to happen. From Mitsuki Takari. I'm sorry, I messed that up horribly. You know how great you are? The other day, met a 40-year-old man in a board game club in Russia. Wow. We got to talking about fantasy, and he loves your channel. I'm a 25-year-old gal. Wow. That's incredible. All these people have been telling me about meeting other fans of mine when I've never met a fan of mine outside of like a convention. Like when I went to JordanCon, I met people there, and I've had like someone I know someone who knows my channel, but I've never like been in a bookstore and had someone been like, Daniel, and I've been like, oh, that's me. So I'm waiting for it to happen, but it hasn't happened yet. If you see me, come say hi. Apparently the consistent comment I get when I have met people at conventions is I'm taller than people think. People think I'm really short. I'm like 5'11 and 3/4, almost 6 foot, but not quite. It drives me nuts and I want to die because of it. But no, you're more than welcome to come say hey. Obviously I'm not being visible enough. I'm a very indoorsy creature. That is also true. Let's see. Ryan Ratchford, how you doing, buddy? You need to message me on Discord and let me know how your writing's going. I need updates from you on the weekly, 5 pages minimum. Okay. I enjoyed Kings of the Wilds and find it inspirational for my writing if I blend more Sanderson into it. What do you find are your biggest inspirations? Probably everything I read, especially some of the really bad stuff, which might be surprising to hear. But it's really inspiring to read an author do something that had good, like, basic premise, but I think is handled poorly. So what I'll often do is I see what they were going for, but I think it should have gone this direction. It would have been way more interesting to combine with this element. So then I'll kind of just, okay, let's take this, let's completely change it, let's have our own spin on it and introduce it ourselves. That's kind of a thing I've been trying to take time to do more often, because one of my big things when I do negative review of books is a lot of times they have a lot of potential, but they just aren't executed the best. David Gimmel. Have I heard of David Gimmel from Howard Robertson? Yes, I have. I can't find his books right now, but I have some on my shelf. But I need to get that. I need to get David Gimmel reviewed on the channel. I think I have. That's what I'm thinking of, right? I'm not sure, and I will let you know in the future. From Martin Wold Stavrum. Didn't like you till Slaying of Good Kind. Then I was like, okay, this boy got balls. Slay Shannara. Take care of yourself and spend my money wisely, bud. I will spend it on books. I promise you that. No, I had a lot of people after I went after Good Kind kind of jump on and be like, okay, this guy's willing to do that. And then it's kind of like, why hasn't he done it again? People want me to do that to more books, or I just did this huge deep dive of why it's so bad. The thing is, I haven't read anything that was that bad since then. So if I come across another book that I'm that inspired to be like, here's everything that's went wrong, trust me, I will. But that also just took it out of me. I mean, after reading Sword of Truth, it was hard to get back into reading because it was just such a drain to finish. From Sean Sunny or Andy, I got it right at the end there. Magical realism sounds like an oxymoron to me. There's nothing realistic about magic. You're telling me you don't believe in magic. There are many, many songs about how there's magic in the air, and we are living in a magical world. Stop telling the poor guy to read Berserk. He's going to have indigestion. You should really start reading the volume 3, though. Also, go watch Doro Handoro. Yeah, I will get to at least volume 3 and do another review. I promise that will be the case. Thank you so much for the 5. From Untamed Banana, which, I'm sorry, is the best name of the day by this far. It's the best name of the day so far. Opinion on Drizzt books. How far have you read? Those were some of the earliest fantasy books I read, believe it or not. I actually read those back when my brother and I were reading fantasy together, and those mean a ton to me. Because of that, I've read the Dark Elf trilogy. I've read... here, I can just pull up my... Hold up. Where'd they go? Where did they go? Where did they go? I have them here. Forgotten Realms. Salvatore. Should be right after Sanderson. Right? Or right before? Oh, here we go. Right in my face. Right in front of my face. Let's see. When it comes to Drizzt, I've read Paths of Darkness, Legacy of the Drow, the Icewind Dale trilogy. Orc King, Thousand Orc, and the Two Swords. So those are the ones I have that I remembered I've read because they're right in front of my face. And there were a couple others that I've read as well. So good question. And those are the ones. I hope that answers you thoroughly enough. Do you think a story can be fantasy without magic? Yeah, absolutely. If I introduce a centaur into my world but there's no magic, that's still fantasy. Well, I'm sending a message. Forgot to last time. How is your book doing, and what can we? When can we expect to get a peek? I've made quite a bit of progress in the book itself. The whole thing is mapped out. Turns out I'm very much so an ideas guy, and when it comes to the hard writing, I'm slow. When it comes to everything put together, notes and all, I have over 100 pages for sure, well over. But in terms of it being an organized, cohesive narrative so far, not so much. So that's kind of in the middle there. So thank you, Potato, for the 5, and thank you, Malachi W, for the 5 as well. Right now I'm in the organizing and reshuffling process, which has been a long and dangerous process, if I say so myself. Oh man, I am behind on things right now. All right, let's try to catch up here. 'Tis a sociology exam. I'm not sure. Oh, for your exam. Awesome. Okay, good luck, and I hope you do well on it. Let's see. From Paul Ramberg. You know it's coming, but House of Chains when? Within the next couple of months for sure. People were not happy with me doing like a more general impressions review of the first 3 books, so it will be an individual review all the way till the end because I take your feedback personally. I will definitely, real quick from Tyler. Daniel, I know you live in Columbus and read a Blue Jackets game. Are you a fan of hockey or just went for fun? I just went for fun, but I will say every time I've been to a hockey game, it's been a blast. Hockey is crazy awesome to watch in person. It's the only sport where it's like, let's put knives on our feet and make punching okay. It's pretty intense, and I enjoy the fights. So, yeah, I'd say I'm a hockey fan in that sense. Maybe it's not the best reason to be a hockey fan. From Thomas Walker, love your work. How goes Malazan? Enjoying it? Still plugging away? I think I answered this question, Thomas, and you will get that sooner rather than later. Let's see. From Zoe Johnson, what do you think about The Count of Monte Cristo? I just finished it for the first time, and it is a new all-time favorite. Wow, that's high praise. I need to make, this is going to sound really bad. I need to make sure that is the book I'm thinking of. Is this the book it's I'm thinking of? Yeah, I've actually never read it. I definitely should, but I have not read it. Thank you so much for the 5. That is one I need to have on here. For some reason, I was thinking that was the original Bram Stoker's Dracula, which I have read, but no, that is not, and that is one that is a shame that I have not read. Insert a whole lot of the shame gif from Game of Thrones, which is totally appropriate and fine. From 94 Evangelion again, you're crazy, man. Hot take. There are too many fantasy books dealing with the flaws of monarchy, but not many fantasy books about the flaws of democracy. Ooh, okay. That's an interesting thing to say. And I think very true, but it would be very difficult to do as an author without coming across wrong. So I agree that would be definitely a fascinating book to read, but it would also be a dangerous one to write. I think I'm caught up now. Am I caught up now? If I missed anybody, spam me and I'll get them. Back to the regular chats. Do you ever get early access from books from publishers, like review units, I guess? Yes, I've had quite a few. Lightbringer, that one was a while ago, so I can say that. I also got Starsight early. Not even that early, though. It was only like a little bit. But yeah, I've gotten things early before. And that's fine. I just make it very clear when people send me things like that, like I'm not promising a positive review. And people are still usually 100% of the time like, okay, and they'll just send it regardless. So that's good. I don't think I can talk about them until they're actually out though. So it's always like that. I get it early, but I never want to say like, oh, I have this because, I don't want to have someone break into my house so they can read something early. But there's a good amount of publishers I'm in contact with. A lot of things that are strange in the air still right now, but all of them have been really easy and nice to work with, which has been really surprising and a pleasure in general. From Great Ski, there's a saying in Canada, went to a fight and a hockey game broke out. Love your work. I love that saying. That's a really, really good saying. And thank you for the 10. That's really funny. The focus of the night was, unfortunately, of the last game that I went to was not fights, because there was not any real fights going on. Let's see. Book of Dust. Oh, yeah. I want to get to the new Pullman. I really do, but I just haven't had the time yet. Pullman is a genius and definitely someone I want to keep up with. Let's see. Let's see. I'm writing a story about the world of Dream. I want to know if you know books that take place in dreams. Well, boy, do I got a one for you. No, Wheel of Time has a dream world, which is, in my opinion, the best dream world I think I've seen. And there's a few other fantasy books which have prevalent dreaming as a key feature. Of course, I can't think of any off the top of my head. So in a dream world, you mean it's not like the Harry Potter sense where we're like having dreams influence the story. You mean a dream world which is involved with magic. I mean, Wheel of Time is honestly the most prevalent one I can think of in response. But yeah, there's a lot of good answers there. From a fantasy crafting company, Daniel, I just started reading Leviathan Wakes again. I made a leather version of it for this read through. It's an amazing series. I sent you a message on Twitter of it. Oh, awesome. I'll be sure to check that out. I did recently make it so I don't get notifications about messages on Twitter because it just became a bit too much. So I will have to go in and find that. But I will definitely check that out because it is a awesome series, and what you do is really, really cool as well, man. Your covers are gorgeous. My Game of Thrones one is, as you've probably seen in my videos, prominently displayed on my shelf because I'm in love with it. From Gam, any advice for unique fantasy races? In my writing, I'm pulling from different neurotypes as inspiration, ADHD, etc. on Wheel of Time Book 2. Congratulations to the Wheel of Time progress. I think there is nothing wrong with the tried and true method of going back to mythology and then just letting your imagination run wild with some of the lesser known mythological creatures, because there's countless fascinating ones from every different culture who has ever existed has mythological creatures you can look into. And I mean, that's how many of the best fantasy races you've ever heard of got their start. So I recommend just going through and picking up, okay, what did Native Americans in this tribe, think of this, and you'll see a bunch of different things that usually have a lot of personality tied into them as well, which actually seems like it might fit into your idea of having them tied into things like ADHD. So that's an interesting one right there. I would especially look into like trickster creatures for stuff like that. That'd be an interesting way to go. That's my recommendation there. For Matthew C. at Daniel Green. Hi, Daniel. I'm 600 pages in Eye of the World, and I'm starting to go insane from the long and tedious descriptions. Do the book descriptions get worse after the first book? They do not get worse. They stay about consistent. So if it's a style thing, man, and if it's not your style, that's absolutely okay. M. Wolf wrote a book about democracy flaws. No, sarcasm. Thank you for the 20. Yeah. Let's see here. Let's see. Just started First Law because of you. Thanks for giving us great content almost daily. I appreciate that, man. Thank you for the $5. I appreciate that. It's First Law is like one of the most impressive things out there, and there's a reason that it's like so prevalent right now. What is happening? There's a lot that I just got snapped through. Okay, I'm fine. Let's see. Check out Georgia Wheel of Time covers. Google that. Oh man, I need to Google this. Those are not letters I'm familiar with. Let's see what happens here. Everyone hold your butts. Hold your butts. Images. Oh wow, that's different. It's like decorated around the edges differently, but not. It's still the original covers though. Okay, so it's the original cover. It's just souped up nicely. Thank you for the 40 rub, and that's interesting. I have not seen them decorated in that style before. Oh wait, that's entirely different. Wow. Okay, there is some real different art here. Interesting. I'll take a more thorough look at that later. Um, let's see. Will you be participating in the Way of Kings leather-bound Kickstarter? Someone needs to post that link in the Discord so I can go check that out. But not yet. But that sounds like something I might be. Thank you for the fiver. From Christian Prater, I bought book 1 of War of the Rose Throne and Crimson Empire trilogy to send you. Just wondering if you already own either before I throw them in the mail. War of the Rose Throne, Crimson Empire trilogy. Crimson Empire trilogy sounds familiar. I think I might have those on audio, or no, not audiobook, Kindle. No, I do not have those. So yeah, feel free to send them, but no pressure from me, and I never ask people to do that. But thank you very much if you do. I appreciate that so much. Thank you. That's so thoughtful. Let's see here. Hey, Daniel, I saw in your unboxing video that you got The Warded Man, book 1 in the Demon Cycle. Just trust me on this. Move it up on your TBR. I have heard that enough from enough people really emphasizing that I for sure am. Apparently, The Warded Man is absolutely brilliant. So I will be moving that up because people, when they saw it, just went, hot damn. So I'll be doing that, no doubt. Do I have any text messages? No. Hey, Danny G, what are your thoughts on Cyberpunk? Hype for sci-fi reviews. Keep an eye out for the books I sent. P.S. Your 5'2" IRL, and that's final. Is this going to become like the PewDiePie has no legs things? Daniel Green is short. All right. My thoughts on Cyberpunk. I'm not super familiarized with the subgenre of like steampunk, cyberpunk stuff. I need to be. The most steampunk I've read is honestly like what you've seen on the channel. So it's something I need to definitely educate myself in more. I'm crazy excited for Cyberpunk 2077. So I'll be buying that day of release, though it was just delayed, dagnabbit. But I will be for sure checking that out when it comes down the road. From Great Ski, honestly think that The Expanse is on its way to becoming the greatest sci-fi TV series ever. Long way to go, but certainly best since Battlestar Galactica. Must watch. See, here's the thing. Now that I'm reading the books, I don't want to watch the show. I started the show. I got through season 1. But now that I'm reading the books, I'm like, I don't want to spoil this, so I want to read the books first. But people want me to review the show, so I'm torn. And I don't know what to do. So I might just quit and go live in a cave. I don't know anymore. I need to figure this all out. Let's see. Let me get to a couple of these non-super chats here, because it's important I get to everybody. I think I did all the super chats, but I'm not. Yeah, I think I did. Yeah, I got them. So let's go to some of these non-super chats here. I do warn you that The Quantum Thief can be hard to read depending on your pop sci CS sci-fi background. Ooh, okay, that's ominous. I'll keep an eye out for that. You said you'd read Chronicles of the Black Company. Did you? I plan on it. They're after these standalone. I have those in my TBR. Like they're in the top 30 books for me to get to, so they're definitely there and they're moving up. That's actually pretty high for me. Do you read any Dean Koontz? I've read 2 Dean Koontz books, both of which I thought were fine, but not like earth-shattering, greatest things ever read type stuff. Sorry, it's going to drive me nuts if I don't put those books back because I'm a neat freak. Let's see here. Read Tigana. It's right there, and I plan to. You can't see where I'm pointing, but it's right there. You saw from the gesture which way it was. Yeah, that's high up there. And it's recommended by Brandon himself, apparently super highly. So that makes it a must read, right? From Danny Pesci, I remember you from a long time ago. Love your channel, and I miss your Watt Talks. Any chance you might do some more of them? Maybe with Nablus. Have you ever wanted to learn another language just to expand your ability to read books? Man, that took some turns. Okay. Watt Talks. I can't speak on much, but something's in the works that might be very, very similar. I'm always happy to work with Nablus, so anytime that he gives me a text or I'll shoot him a text, that will be something coming down the road. Yeah, I can't learn another language, unfortunately. My dyslexia severity has made it so I've tried for years and years and years to learn other languages, and it just doesn't happen for me. I think I've accumulatively through my education spent 4 years trying to learn Spanish, and I could never even get close to conversational. I also tried to learn Latin, and then I became a software developer to learn computer languages, which for some reason clicked with me way better. Thank you so much for the 10, by the way. I appreciate you, dog. Thank you, Danny, for being around for so long. Are you interested in what the Japanese media has to offer in terms of fantasy? There are a lot of cool stuff like current Dodorio adaptations. Adaptation. I really want to get more into that, but I've more been focusing on Western fantasy, heavily inspired by Eastern traditional fantasy and things like that. But I do hope to make that final transition in the future. I just can't exactly predict when that'll happen. But yes, that is kind of a plan for now in the future. Let me see here. Oh, from Blissifin. Interesting that my reading habit started temptation to know why everybody hates Aragon film so much. Well, now I know it sucks. I'm now reading 50 books per year, despite hate reading in high school. Well, I'm glad to hear that you've increased your reading habit. That's kind of like the goal of my channel, and I think this community as a whole. Everyone's always encouraging each other to read more, and that's beautiful. So I'm glad to hear that. I'm sorry you had to sit through that movie. It's not the best. It's one of those movies and adaptations that even the author is just like, not a fan. Thank you so much for the CZK, and I appreciate you. Amazing you're reading 50 books a year. That's right around the same level I'm at in terms. Well, no, I think I'm doing about 2 a week currently. So I think I'm a bit north of that, but that's still really, really impressive, and that's awesome. Anyone who can read on that level deserves mad respect. From Anthony D, just finished Holy Sister, and I loved it. Yeah, you did, because it's incredible. I do have an issue with the epilogue. What are your thoughts? My thoughts are that's really, really high spoiler stuff. And I don't think I can get into that, unfortunately. I do plan a Book of the Ancestor spoiler video in the future, we'll be getting into. So keep an eye out for that, is what I'll say for there. Because I don't want to just on a live stream spoil stuff for people who might be interested in a series that I've said is a masterpiece, and I still stand by. So thank you so much for the fiver, though. I will say I like it. I actually didn't have a problem with it at all. So that's as far as I can go there. From Ezra Menard, I found your channel 2 months ago, and I'm already on the Dragon Reborn. Nice. I love it so much. Cosmere after? Hell yes. Also, I'm 14, just letting you know you have some kid fans. Well, according to YouTube's ad people, no, I don't. You are all 18 plus. And my content is not tailored for children. I'm saying that specifically to YouTube. Anyone is welcome to watch, and I'm happy to say that as well. But when it comes to ad rates, this is for the 18 or 16 plus whatever crowd, because I have to say that now. But thank you. I'm so glad to hear you're there. And the fact I'm getting someone in your age range to read fantasy like that is phenomenal. Yes, go Cosmere afterward for sure. All right. Okay. Thank you, YouTube ad rates, for being something that is such a minefield. That's all I can say there. From Gabriel. How you doing, Gabriel? Hey, Daniel. Thank you for your content as always. Have you read any books by Jeff Vandermeer or seen the movie Annihilation, which is based on his work? If so, what do you think starting his book Born? So Annihilation was probably one of my favorite movies of the year it came out. If I remember, it was a really high competition year, but that movie, I don't get why people gave it negative or mixed reviews. I thought it was brilliant. I haven't read the source work yet. I want to, because it has to be phenomenal to spawn off a movie like that. I really loved it. So I'm curious and do plan on reading that author in the future, but knowing me, that's probably pretty distant future. I'm at the end of Mistborn Book 1. Thank you, Brian, spelled with a Y and 2 A's. Okay. Thank you for the 21. Book 1. Shocked by the end of part 4. Does Brandon do this often? Surprise the reader, taking him to a place he didn't expect? Thanks for the fantasy madness. I have all Cosmere Wheel of Time books now. Awesome. What I can tell you is there is a cliche that I think even Brandon Sanderson, or a trope around him that he's even aware of, where the endings for Brandon are an avalanche. Endings in Brandon's books are avalanches, and you just have to brace for what's going to happen. And usually they stick the landing and are really, really, really impressive. So yeah, I would say that's pretty typical of him to be just kind of blown away and oh my god, like how things go. And I have my expectations set sky high for Stormlight to be like the most avalanche landslide thing ever in terms of dealing with it. So that is my prediction. Yeah, the Brandon Lanch is what it's called. Good to see you still in here, Ryan. Let's see, Stormlight, please. I do plan on reviewing and re-summarizing Stormlight books before the last one's released, so that is all coming down the road. Yeah, Brandon himself mentioned the Brandon Lanches recently. You're right, Potato, in one of his live streams. He did that himself. It's something his fans are aware of, and he's aware of. Let's see. Have you read Divine Cities by Robert Jackson Bennett? No, I have not. I've not read that author yet. Predictions for Stormlight 4. My predictions for Stormlight 4. So we know this is going to be 2 arcs, right? I mean, that's known among the fan base. It's going to be 5-book arc and then a 5-book arc, and they're in 2 different times. My prediction is going to be for book 5. I think Brandon is going to take Stormlight in a direction that people are not going to be able to call. I have a theory that one of the reasons we're not getting the histories of this world fleshed out so much, one of the reasons we're still kind of, I'm not going to spoil anything, don't worry. One of the reasons we're still kind of floating so much in terms of grounding in this world in certain ways that usually Brandon does flesh out a bit more, is that we're actually being misdirected as readers. And I think we're going to have a pretty big turn. That's my prediction. I think we're going to have, I'm not sure exactly how or what, but I feel like we're being led by the nose and we're going to be slammed into a brick wall of, oof, we're going the wrong way. Yeah, we don't know. Yeah, okay, I can't get on. We're not going to touch on the spoilers. What's the scariest / most disturbing book or short story I've ever read? The Road. No question, The Road, in terms of keeping me up at night, was just the most, just wow, bucket punch to the face, like book I've ever picked up. That author never held back in any way, shape, or form, and it was one of the most just emotional roller coasters I've ever been on. Yeah, that's for sure a real thing here. Let's see. Hey, Daniel, will you ever do an introduction to classic fantasy video? Yeah, that's on the current list of videos to do and should be sooner than you'd think coming down the road. Hey, how would you say your view on hard magic has developed in the last year now that you've read more? So my opinion on the current popular way to talk about magic systems in fantasy, whether they're hard or soft, because that's become super popularized to judge them on this metric, which wasn't a huge priority before. That's now becoming the biggest priority for people to judge these magic systems. And honestly, my opinion on it is the way we're holding all of these magic systems up to this standard, this one arbitrary thing, is actually a bit harmful. And I want to stop emphasizing it so much because it's a scale. There's no magic system that's 100% hard, and there's no magic system that's 100% soft. They all have some rules, and all those rules bend to some degree. And I actually just kind of want to back away from that because I think we need to look at magic systems outside of the specific lens of how hard and how soft they are, because it tends to squash conversation that's more in line with how well is the author executing the rules he is working on? How integral is this magic system to the actual story versus just how hard are the rules and how upfront in your face is it? Is kind of my thoughts on that right now. Not that I'm saying it's bad that we are comparing this at that metric at all. I think it is good metric, and it is something there's a legitimate discussion to have around. It's just it's way more gray than I think a lot of people think. From Josh Turner, in the Wheel of Time, what's your least favorite main character and why? Oof. Least favorite main Wheel of Time character. My least favorite one that we spend a good amount of time with throughout the series and whose chapters I'm never 100% thrilled with would... I have such frustrations with various parts of Perrin's story, especially on my most recent read through, that I actually was getting annoyed reading some of Perrin's stuff. mainly later on in the series. I just found it to be frustrating. So it changes like every read through. But I'd say in my most recent, it's probably Perrin, even though I still do love his character. There's just things that happened with his character that at the end, I'm sitting there like, this is dumb, redo this, make this different. So yeah, that's what I'd say. Ryan Ratchford, 100% agree, though it's cool for wikis and lore videos. I agree. Christian Minell, $1. Thank you. Sorry I didn't have a question. I wish I could respond to you, but thank you for your $1. You tossed $1 to your booktuber. Let's see. From Amos Blomberg. Love Forgotten Realms, but didn't like Drizzt, Wolfgar, and Canterbury thing. Also, thanks for Wheel of Time. Just read Dragon Reborn 5 days. I'm assuming you like it for that reason. But yeah, the Drizzt, Wolfgar, Canterbury thing, I haven't read it as an adult, so I probably can't give it like a really in-depth review. But I remember it being fine when I was a kid, but my review lens is not clear on that one, so I can't tell you exactly. From Ethan Boyd, hey Daniel, I was wondering if you have read or have any opinions on Lovecraft. I have a Lovecraft video on my channel, my man. I'm sure YouTube's buried it long ago, but I for sure do have a Lovecraft video to check out. I've read and liked Lovecraft stuff, although people were mad at me in that video for not bringing up the fact that he's not exactly a good person, and I'm sorry, I should have mentioned that. Yes, he was kind of a horrible dude. Another 5 from Gretzky. You must read Peter F. Hamilton's Salvation and Part 2 Salvation's Lost, home of the best new sci-fi. So I actually have those on my shelf. Those I currently have on my shelf. And Stubble McShave making an appearance here again. Do you see that Brandon's have a new lecture up from his classes? Yep, that's going to be included in Fantasy News tomorrow. So far, it's the only first part, a course introduction. Yep, that is going to be covered tomorrow. And will be in the Fantasy News. But I'm probably going to have to wrap it up here before too long, guys. Let me go ahead and just look at a couple things before I go. What was book that was bad, but the adaptation was good? Ooh, I can't think of one off the top of my head where I can think of a book that was bad, but the adaptation made it better. That's an interesting question, though. I'm sure there's been a couple, for sure. Have you read some non-sci-fi fantasy? Oh yeah, tons. That's just what I talk about here on the channel. I'm a huge history nerd, and I've read many history books, a lot of historical fiction, a lot of just mystery and crime stuff. I had a real true crime kick in high school and read just an absolute truckload of true crime novels. Helter Skelter still stands out as one of the best books I've ever read. So it's, yeah. I heard YouTube advise that if you want to keep your live streams without messing up your stats, you could make a second live stream channel. I don't want to deal with all that right now. I've had so many things where I'm like, I need to do this, then that. Just not right now. Not right now. No second channel right now. Not currently. Let's see. Game of Thrones, the show, is both better and worse than the books. That's a hot take. That is I mean, you definitely could have that opinion and not objectively be wrong. The Godfather is a bad book with a really great movie. Okay, I could accept that. From Noah M. Hey Daniel, love your channel. Because of you, I started Wheel of Time. Am just finishing Great Hunt right now. Loving so far. Thanks for all you do. Oh, awesome. I appreciate you saying that, man. And I'm glad you're enjoying them. Thank you for the 5. Let's see here. Favorite character from Stormlight? Dalinar. It's always going to be Dalinar. I love that guy, and his character work in the last book was Brandon's best ever, in my opinion. And I've made that vocally known on the channel. I think Dalinar is Brandon's best character by a good margin. I've stupendously well written in the last one. But that is where I'm going to go ahead and end this one, guys. Thank you so much for coming by and chatting fantasy with me for about an hour here. Thank the new moderator, Noah, for coming in and being a part of this. I appreciate you, Noah. You are a golden stallion of a man. And I hope you all are having a wonderful week. Look for Fantasy News tomorrow morning. And I am ecstatic to get this channel moving as the year continues. And also expect more skits and sketches on the channel as well in the future, because I'm having some fun with those. And maybe even some standalone videos that are sketches and skits and stuff. So that'll be fun. Have a wonderful day, you all. Peace.